doubt, many of you viewing this have come across adult content at some point in your life.
You must know the password, right?
In fact, it's almost challenging to encounter someone who claims otherwise. And if you do, there's a good chance they might not be entirely truthful. The pervasiveness of explicit material is such that we've often encountered graphic adult content before our first romantic experience. Stories of young children inadvertently witnessing adult content at an alarmingly tender age are not uncommon. Such exposure would have been a profoundly unsettling experience for our ancestors. Sex education becoming increasingly comprehensive and direct, the accessibility of adult content being just a click away, we have to question whether this surge is shaping the sexual behavior of young males and our youth. More importantly, could pornography be operating as a societal toxin? The year 2007 is worth mentioning here, as it symbolizes the advent of popular adult content platforms such as Pornhub and Xvideos. Concurrently, YouTube was also cementing its place in our lives. It was a pivotal era as explicit content and entertainment became accessible and free on these emerging platforms. This digital revolution paved the way for an era of instant gratification with profound social implications. For this, accessing adult content was more complicated, involving renting DVDs, buying magazines, or catalog orders. The harm caused to our society by this was significantly less as consumption was lower and less frequent. Today, however, consumers crave high-definition explicit content, often in the form of compilations and watching multiple videos as opposed to fantasizing about a single picture, available free of charge, leading to intense emotional reactions and societal desensitization. This gratification from watching adult content can trick our brains into considering this as a significant accomplishment. Our brains are hardwired to reward us with feelings of happiness and satisfaction when we succeed at a task. In ancient times, this reward system activated when our ancestors made a successful hunt. In the modern world, we feel the satisfaction when we score well on an exam or earn a promotion at work. However, post-2007, our brains had to adapt to the dopamine surges provided by the consumption of explicit content and digital entertainment, and things have only gotten worse with the surge of social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, where a never-ending drip feed of dopamine awaits at the click of a button or tap of a finger. A consistent flood of dopamine in our brains builds a tolerance to it, leading our brains to develop receptors to handle the excess. If these receptors aren't adequately stimulated, they can lead to dissatisfaction, meaning normal pleasurable activities can no longer satisfy our heightened neurological requirements. As a result, we become more dependent on activities that provide instant gratification. Take this analogy. Imagine being a lean person who consumes a regular burger from McDonald's and feels satiated. However, if you consume this burger for every meal over a month, your body will adapt. As your brain develops more dopamine receptors, your stomach capacity increases, leading to weight gain. Eventually, a single burger won't suffice, and you might need 2 or 3 to feel satisfied. Explicit content conditions us to expect large rewards for minimal effort, offering a dopamine surge that outstrips any other activity. For many, this can inhibit the desire to establish meaningful relationships. In a broader context, this constant dopamine stimulation could be contributing to the recent rise in substance abuse, depression, anxiety, and obesity. Recently, research has shown that the consumption of explicit content correlates with physical changes in the brain. This was discussed in the Fight the New Drugs docuseries Brain Heart World. The series analogized the effect of pornography on the brain to the famous case of Phineas Gage, a man who experienced personality alterations following a severe brain injury. The series postulates that much like Gage's injury, exposure to pornography can physically alter the brain's structure, size, and chemical imbalance by overwhelming its reward system with sustained high levels of dopamine. These changes in our brain, as clinical as they may sound, have significant personal implications. Like the altered Phineas Gage, modifications in our brain resulting from explicit content consumption can correspondingly influence our mood, personality, and how we interact with others. The consumption of explicit content can often lead to depressive episodes or feelings of isolation. It can make us view ourselves negatively, making us believe we are undeserving of love. It can also jeopardize our relationships, severing crucial social ties. The phrase, "when we damage our brain, it changes us," isn't merely an abstract concept residing in the realm of neuroscience. It's a serious issue that pervades our daily life, impacting us on a deep and personal level. The examination of explicit content's influence should balance the understanding of its neuroscientific aspects with personal narratives of those who have been directly affected. Remember, the impact of explicit content begins in the brain, then descends to our emotions, and ultimately permeates our societal interactions. I hope that as a society we become more mindful of this and take proactive measures to mitigate the harm that explicit content can cause, particularly to the mental health of our young men who may feel isolated and disconnected. Let's strive towards a future where we can tackle this pervasive toxicity that threatens our collective societal potential.